Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Dustin Dennison coming at you with another lesson on how to drive a stick shift. Not sure what number lesson this is, but it'll reflect when I upload. These are the foot pedals on the truck. I'm not only going to be using the truck, this is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to be using both my car and my truck, driving them at different times in this video. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Anybody that watches my channel consistently knows that I upload several times a day, and I try to do 2 to 4 long videos every single week. But the pedal that was on the far left, that was the parking brake. The second from the left is the clutch pedal. Second from the right is the brake pedal, and the far right is the gas. Anytime you want to move this little booger, which is the shifter, then you need to push that clutch pedal in order to do that. But you didn't watch this to look at the foot pedals or to, for hear me talk about them. You watched this to learn how to drive a stick shift. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm in the 98 Dodge Dakota. It's parked on a flat surface right now, so the parking brake is down and the vehicle is in first gear. If I was parked at a upward angle, it would be the same, but if I was parked at a downward angle, the parking brake would be down and the vehicle would be in reverse, like that. First gear, though. Well, it would help if I put the key in. Clutch pedal goes down. If I don't push the clutch pedal in, it won't start. Clutch pedal goes down. Start it up. Before I take my foot off the clutch pedal, I have to put the vehicle in neutral like that. And then I also have to release the parking brake to get going. Before I get going. That's what I just did. Now, I got to back out of a parking spot, so what I'm going to do is put it in reverse, give it barely any gas whatsoever, and slowly let off the clutch pedal. That time I gave a little bit more gas than was necessary, but yeah. Now I put it in first so I can take off, give it a little bit of gas, we'll slowly let off the clutch. Off we go. I got to get out of a parking lot first. Goes into neutral. Put the vehicle in neutral so I can coast for a moment. First, clutch pedal goes in second gear. Clutch pedal goes in third gear. Neutral because I'm ready to turn. Second. Neutral because I'm coming up on a stop sign. Clutch pedal goes in, vehicle goes into first gear. Anytime, if you notice, anytime I want to shift gears or put it in neutral or whatever, anytime I want to move this, clutch pedal goes in. I have seen videos where people don't do that. They are able to time it just right and shift without using the clutch pedal. I will never recommend doing that. Number one, because I don't know how to do it, and number two, because it's not a good idea. Second. Third. Now, this particular vehicle, I said earlier before in the previous part of this video, I said this is a 3.9 liter V6 5-speed. Now it can do about 15 miles an hour in first gear, 25 in second, 35 in third, 45 in fourth. Anything above that, I like to be in fifth gear. Also, the 07 Mazda 6 that I was driving earlier, I said this, it has a gauge in the dash where you can tell where your RPMs are, and I shift no lower than 2,000, no higher than 10,000 RPMs, with a few exceptions being when I'm skipping gears if I decide to do that. However, this does not have that particular gauge in the dash. This just has a light that comes on when it's okay to shift. Even though I've said this before, even though this is, at one point, liters bigger than the 07 Mazda 6, the speeds at which you can obtain comfortably in each gear is not astronomically different. I don't exactly have to say this, but I'm heading to High Speed Ghost to do some more YouTube content. I just decided to do part of this particular video on the way there. And also, when I went to downshift, it's very similar to the 07 Mazda 6 that I drive, which is a 2.0-liter 4-cylinder 5-speed. When I want to downshift in that, if I'm in fifth gear, doing 55, 60 miles, if I'm doing 60 mile an hour in fifth gear, I like to slow down to 55 before downshifting into fourth gear, letting the vehicle slow down to about 45 before I downshift into third gear, letting it slow down to about 25 before I downshift into second. And if I choose to downshift into first, I may go, I don't do that hardly at all, but if I do that, then I will wait for it to get down to about 20 miles an hour, 15, 20 miles an hour. But I don't usually downshift into first gear. I don't even downshift into second gear very often. This, though, a little bit bigger, comfortably, I'll be doing about 60 miles an hour maybe, and I'll downshift into fourth gear if I feel the inclination. I'll let it slow down to about maybe 40, 45 before I downshift into third, 30 or 35 before I downshift into second if I do at all. And I haven't downshifted into first gear with this yet. I haven't had it but a few months. It's not, so like I said, this is a 3.9 liter. The car that I have, the 07 Mazda 6, is a 2.3 liter engine. Even though there's a 1.6 liter difference, the speeds, like I said, I only feel comfortable doing about 5 miles more in each speed in this than I do in the car. And at least for this particular part of this video, that'll about do it. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. We're not at the end just yet, but I figured I'd throw it in there somewhere. Stay safe, everyone. Right now I'm in first gear because I'm on a flat surface. If I was on an upward angle, the parking brake would be up and the vehicle would still be in first gear. If I was on a downward angle, the parking brake would be up and the vehicle would be in reverse. Before you get going, I recommend not only starting in a parking lot, but also get used to doing this. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, reverse. Now, in order to start any stick-shift vehicle, you have to push the clutch pedal in. If you do not push the clutch pedal in, it won't start. So, clutch pedal goes in, starts up. It's already in neutral. If it was in first gear, I would take it out of first gear and put it in neutral before letting off the clutch pedal. Parking brake goes down. Clutch goes in, put the vehicle in first gear to take off. Give a little bit of gas for slow letting off the clutch, and off we go. A little bit of gas, slow letting off the clutch. 10 miles an hour, second gear. 20, third gear. 30, fourth gear. Neutral and coast because I'm coming up on an intersection. This vehicle is a 2.3 liter, 4-cylinder, 5-speed. I can do 0 to 10 in first, 10 to 20 in second, 20 to 30 in third, 30 to 40 in fourth. Anything above 40 miles an hour, I'm in fifth gear. Puts the brake pedal in to stop. Clutch pedal goes in, vehicle goes into first gear, give it a little bit of gas while letting off the clutch. Clutch pedal goes in second gear, 20, third gear, speed all the way up to 30 miles an hour. Clutch pedal goes in, put it in neutral. Anytime you want to move this in any capacity, you push the clutch pedal in. Some people say, no, you don't have to do that. I've seen videos where people are able to shift without using the clutch pedal. I will never recommend that. First gear, second, third. Also, you need to watch your RPMs. The truck that I'm going to be using in this video later on does not have this. This one does. It has a gauge in the dash that shows the RPMs. I shift no lower than 2,000, no higher than 3,000. There are a few exceptions, and I'll get to that here in a little bit, but for the most part, it's between 2,000 and 3,000 RPMs. Clutch pedal goes in, vehicle goes into neutral, push on the brake. Now, there's several ways of slowing down and or stopping in a stick-shift vehicle as well. One that I have been doing is pushing the clutch pedal in, putting the vehicle in neutral, and hitting the brake. Second, third. Second way, and a little more advanced in my opinion, is to push the clutch and the brake pedal in, like push the clutch pedal in and then the brake pedal in. Similar to that is you push the clutch pedal and the brake pedal in simultaneously, you get the same result. Fifth, because I'm going up to above 40 miles an hour now, you get the same result from doing it either way. My favorite way of slowing down and or stopping, and also the one I don't do very much of, because I feel like it's the most advanced, and it's also depending on the circumstances, is downshifting. Right now I'm doing 45 miles an hour. If I wanted to downshift into fourth gear, I could. I'm not going to because I'm seeing this 45 mile an hour. Here in a little bit, though, the speed, I'm coming up on an intersection here in the next maybe 100 yards or so, and I'll be downshifting to show you guys how. Right now, I'm still doing 45. So, clutch pedal goes in from fifth down to fourth. Vehicle slows down by itself. 40 miles an hour, fourth down to third. Vehicle continues to slow down by itself. I don't normally do this, but I'm going to downshift into second gear here in a little bit, because just to show you guys how I do it. I don't downshift into first, but I have done that for YouTube content. 35 mile an hour, downshift into second. Vehicle continues to slow down by itself. And here, after I take off from this intersection, I will show you how to skip gears, and that's the only circumstances in which your RPMs may go above 3,000 RPMs, is by skipping gears. First, second, speed all the way up to 30 miles an hour in second gear, shift directly into fourth gear, and we successfully skip gear. Fifth gear. Two ways I skip gears, if I skip them at all, which I don't do very often, but I do some, I go from first to second to fourth to fifth, which is what I just did, or I go from first to second to third to fifth. When I go from third to fifth, I'm in third gear, I speed all the way up to 42, 43 miles an hour, and then I shift directly into fifth. I don't go from first to third to fifth. I have done that for a video, but I don't do that regularly. Just like I don't downshift into second gear very often, and I don't downshift into first, but I have done that for a video. The other thing is, I've been taking off from first gear every single time I've taken off in this video. Some people, I've done this for YouTube content, and I've done this to try it. Some people say, well, I just take off from second gear because you have to shift so quickly into second gear after you take off, you might as well just take off from second gear. That's their decision. I will never recommend using taking off from second gear regularly. Just like I'll never recommend not shifting without the clutch pedal. You have first gear for a reason. Use it. You have all these you have a clutch pedal for a reason. Use it. It doesn't matter how quickly you have to shift into second gear after you take off. You have that gear for a reason. So although I've done a couple things for YouTube, I don't do them regularly. I've only done them to try them. Wind was getting in my face. I'll just crack the window a little bit. And also, earlier when I was talking about how I park, some people do this. I've tried it, but I don't do it. At least I don't do it regularly. You can use the transmission as a kickstand whenever you park. If you're on a flat angle, you can put it in first or reverse. If you're on an incline, you can put it in first. Or if you're on a angle like this, you can put it in reverse and use the transmission as a kickstand. But you have a parking brake for a reason. I don't agree with using their transmission as a kickstand. So, even though it's possible, I will not recommend it. That's why you saw me using the parking brake at the beginning of the video. Neutral, because I'm getting ready to come up on my turn. The other reason I almost forgot to cover this. The other reason I don't downshift as often as I'd like is because when you downshift, the person behind you may not realize you're slowing down, and I realize they need to pay more attention, but they may not realize you're slowing down, and they may run into you, accidentally rear end you, because you downshifted and they didn't realize you were slowing down. Now, in all fairness, that has not happened to me, but I also don't downshift when somebody's right behind me. I'm just turning around, that's all. Second, third gear speed all the way up to 40 miles an hour plus, directly into fifth gear. That's how you skip gears when you're going from third to fifth. You need to figure out what whenever you're starting to learn how to drive a stick shift like I did back, 8 years ago plus. I started in a parking lot. You can learn how to take off in a parking lot. You can learn how to shift in a parking lot, and you can learn how to stop in a parking lot. I drove around the parking lot for about 10 minutes or so. Got used to those things before I finally took to the open road. The reason I said that the truck I'm going to be using later on in this video doesn't have this, I said that this has a gauge in the dash that shows the RPMs. The truck that I'm going to be using later does not have that. It has a light that flashes when it's okay to shift. But I know the engine really well. I know the vehicle well enough to where I know when to shift. And that is the truck I'll be using later is a 98 Dodge Dakota. Has a V6 3.9 liter 5-speed. Now, even though this is a 2.3 and that's a 3.9, so there's a 1.6 size differential, it's not astronomically different. I can do up to about 15 miles an hour at first, 25 in second, 35 in third, 45 in fourth, anything above 45 miles an hour I like to be in fifth gear. The truck, just because it's 1.6 liters or whatever bigger, it's not huge. It's not a huge difference in the speeds in which you can obtain comfortably in each gear. I won't say who this is, but I have a friend that has a 2014 Chevy Cruze. It's a 2-liter, 6-speed. He told me once that by the time he hits 50 miles an hour in that, he's already in 6th gear. So you got to get used to the vehicle, used to the watching the RPMs, used to just, once you're used to all these things, it may seem like a lot, but it's really not once you're used to it. I've had 4 vehicles since 2016 that have all been stick shifts. And honestly, they weren't that massively different. I had a 99 Honda Accord that was a 2.3 liter 4-cylinder 5-speed, and it was identical to how this one drives. This is a 07 Mazda 6 with a 2.3 liter 4-cylinder 5-speed. But I also had a 02 Honda Civic that was a 1.9 liter 4-cylinder 5-speed, and it was, by the time I got up to 40 miles an hour, I was already in 5th gear. But it wasn't a huge difference. And like I said, the truck is a V6 3.9 liter 5-speed. Shifting into neutral so I can coast. I'm going to get all the way down to 50 miles an hour before I downshift into 4th gear.